Hello everyone, Keza here, bringing you Thanksgiving 2017, at least as it was seen from my crazy point of view. I didn't have a lot of time to do this event, certainly not as much as Halloween, but I still got my fair share of turkey kills in. The first build I went out with was my imps. They were already set up and ready to go from Halloween, which I use them a lot in. Didn't use them quite as much for this event. The Indians and Pilgrims did take highly reduced damage from pets. The turkeys went down in a matter of seconds though, regardless of which tame I used, because they took full damage from any tame. So those fights were always pretty fast, including ones with the Turkinator, which is kind of like the turkey boss. But I didn't really run into many of those because the primary way I was going around finding the Thanksgiving mobs this year was at the NPC camps, which you can see I'm at one right now, where this is at least what they look like during Thanksgiving. Similar to a normal NPC camp, but the chest and crate have increased loot, and the chest actually takes higher than 50 lockpicking. Normally NPC camp chests take about 50, and you can unlock them with GM Majory and the spell unlock, but these ones you cannot. But if you don't bring your lockpicker with you, you're only missing out on a bit of gold. I didn't really find anything exceptional or rare within the chests. The next thing I tried for a bit of fun was to get my polar bears out. These are actually good polar bears. Hard to find, but they're a very useful tame. They have a little bit less hit points than a drake, but after you get pack instinct from the bears, they actually have a higher damage per second than using 4 drakes, so they're pretty nice. And I also use some energy vortexes and blade spirits every now and then with my mage character just to speed things up, because I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter which tame you use. These fights with the Indians and Pilgrims just took a long time. Also a tip, which I guess is for 2018 because Thanksgiving is over now. I saw a lot of people leaving the NPC escorts at the camps, which is kind of funny because if you just take them to the city they request, they'll give you 1 holiday coin just for returning them. So, I mean, that's a pretty easy holiday coin for just casting a gate or 2. Now I have to show you something again that I tried during Halloween, and it was just so funny that I had to try it again for Thanksgiving, and that is mass NPC hirelings. Just hiring as many of these things as you can and going after these mobs is pretty hilarious. And it's not really that bad of a tactic if you're just going to fight the turkeys or some of the easier Pilgrims or Indians. Because they can actually tank well enough to, you know, take the hits from these things, and if you have a character with healing, it all works out. That is, of course, until you pull one of these fencer Indians or Pilgrims, which, I mean, my god, they had so much more damage than the other ones. The archers do like nothing. The ones with macing weapons, you know, they do a little bit more damage, but the ones with all the fencing weapons, particularly the warfork and the dagger, Jesus, they just tore through stuff like no tomorrow. Even my Ostards and whatnot, I had trouble keeping healed through fights with these ones, and they're not any type of boss mob, they're just one of the regular spawns that you'll find at the camps or out in the wilds. But yeah, this thing, as soon as I pulled it on the group, they were just like, oh, they're dropping way too fast to keep healed, so I was like, I'll just take the gold from them and run away, because that's about all I could do. So that was a fun little experiment. Not something to be used sustainably in any way, but still fun to use. There's definitely something, I'd say, maniacally entertaining about watching your hirelings or tames just getting absolutely mowed down by something. I don't know, maybe I'm a little sick for liking that kind of thing, but I mean, gosh, it's just so entertaining, isn't it? Anyways, on to what I was actually doing with most of this event, which is my Frenzy Ostards, of course. Going around to various places, trying to find more turkeys to kill. I tried T2A, but oh man, it was such a time kill just running around there, because I don't know where the NPC camps are in T2A yet. I plan on finding out and marking them on my UO auto map. But otherwise, running around looking for turkeys was just a real good use of time. I mean, this is only sped up times 16 here, of course, and I mean, you can see all the ground I covered. I looked everywhere, and I don't know if I was just getting unlucky or something, but I could seriously spend like 10 minutes running around and find only maybe one turkey or Indian or something to kill. Needless to say, this is a process that I did not repeat. After I did this little run through T2A, I went back to the regular world and just did the NPC camps there for the rest of my time for Thanksgiving. Now I've heard that some people have the NPC camps marked as Ratman camps on their UOAM, and that seems to be just like a built-in thing that UOAM came with for them, but that is actually not on my auto map at all, so I had to use the message boards you see there and use the coordinate system, which is very old school, and go out and see which camps are active. And that's actually a system that worked out for me pretty well, because as soon as I found camp location that way, I would just mark it on my map and then I'd always have it. Again, that is just the message board system. Every town has them, but only about half the towns have available NPC camps or rescue requests on the message boards. And it's actually not a bad thing to do if you're a new player as well. You can typically use your auto map to find out where a location is. For example, the one I saw had a coordinate near Shame, so I went ahead and teleported over to Shame and then got to the Indian camp that way. So I was able to find my way around pretty quickly there. I actually had plans to do a whole video on setting up your auto map later, including how to get the geological survey and all of the NPC map locations, which is something I'm setting up in collaboration with other players, because some of us just don't have those locations marked on ours, so you'll be able to download a simple file and put it in your auto map. Anyways, that's for another video. Right now, back to the turkey killing. If you did kill a lot of these things, you obviously got some clothing items, like I just got that bonnet off the Indian, or Pilgrim I killed, I should say. Now on to the more boss type monsters that were spawning for Thanksgiving. There were only really two, the ones that are called Indian and Pilgrim that have a shield. They're just called Turkey Knights on the website, and they almost always lost their shield by the end of the fight. But they had parry, and I think they had poisoning, but their skills didn't show that they had poisoning, but they would occasionally poison whatever they were hitting. They weren't really that difficult. They did take reduced damage from pets, so that took a while, but their mounts never took reduced damage, so they went down pretty fast. Then of course there is the Turkinator, which has a pile of hit points, but again, not reduced damage, so they weren't really that hard for me. Some people seem to think they did a lot of damage, but I mean, my Ostards didn't have any problem with them, so I can't imagine them hurting a dragon, really. Nothing really good dropped off of any of those monsters that I killed. Out of all of Thanksgiving, I think the only notable things I got was a Indian headdress, which just came off of a normal Indian I killed. But on to the main event, which was the Moonglow town invasion that actually summed up and ended all of Thanksgiving here. So these town invasions are normally like, you know, purely player versus monster events. You might see a few reds here and there, some people doing PvP. This town invasion was a little different. I clearly didn't get the memo that this is a PvP event, because this whole event could just be summed up in the words Warzone, because oh my gosh, I never saw so much PvP happening during an event, ever. What was funny about it is I kept on waiting for, you know, the sync dump to come and just instant death screen, but it just never came. Everywhere I went, there was just, you know, you go here, there's more PKs, you go there, you see them again, but they were really only interested in fighting each other, which works out fine for me, and for the other player versus monster people who are out here killing these Indians and stuff. But yeah, it definitely added an interesting element of entertainment to watch. I mean, it was almost like I got to do my PVM event while witnessing or being a spectator to this massive PvP battle going on, like I was watching some capture the flag thing at the same time I was killing all the Indians and getting all the loot. I mean, it was great, worked for everyone. Yeah, but honestly, I don't know what actually prompted all the PvP to be going down. It might be because people, I don't know, there were no statues dropping for the first half of this town evasion thing, so once people saw that there were no statues, they might have been like, well, let's just go get on our PvP characters, because, I mean, without statues, what you really have is a large guard-free zone where you know a mass amount of players are going to be at, so, I mean, that's a great opportunity to get some action, and if you're ever having trouble finding some people to fight, there was no shortage of that here. There's just people non-stop going down all over the place. So yeah, very entertaining. The first part of the event there lasted for about 40 minutes, and then the spawn went off, and the event seemed to be over. I got one trophy out of it. They seemed to start dropping very late in the event, like right when it ended. So I put up my Ostards figuring it would just be straight PvP, but then randomly things started spawning again. I guess Telemon turned the spawn back on so people could get more trophies maybe. I'm not really sure the reason, but I didn't have a problem with it. I went out and grabbed my tames again and got right back to it. Luckily I was able to get one additional trophy out of that last little second round of spawning, which only lasted like maybe 10 minutes, but better than nothing. That is about it for Thanksgiving. Be on the lookout for more holiday videos and holiday monsters. Christmas spawn will be coming up soon, and I'm definitely going to have probably more than one video on that, because usually the Christmas event lasts for an entire month, so more good times to come. But for now, thank you for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them here. And otherwise, I hope to see you guys around in game. Later.